In California, the California Electrical Code, Section 680.43 D specifies the required height of the ground fault interrupter GFI disconnect box on an exterior wall for power to a spa. This height is mandated to be 36 inches above the ground. The purpose of this requirement is primarily to ensure safety and accessibility while preventing accidental contact or damage. Firstly, let's delve deeper into why this specific height is chosen. The 36-inch height provides a balance between accessibility and protection. It is high enough to prevent accidental contact with the disconnect box, especially by children or pets, reducing the risk of electrical shock. Secondly, it also minimizes the potential for damage from ground-level hazards such as water or debris. Imagine a scenario where the disconnect box is placed too close to the ground. During heavy rain or flooding, the box could become submerged, increasing the risk of electrical malfunction and potential shock hazards. Similarly, if the box is too low, it could be easily damaged by lawnmowers, gardening tools, or other objects. Thirdly, the 36-inch height also ensures that the disconnect box is easily accessible for adults to operate and maintain. This is important for routine inspections, repairs, and emergency situations where the power to the spa needs to be quickly shut off. Think about a situation where someone needs to quickly disconnect the power to the spa in case of an electrical problem. A disconnect box that is too low or too high would be difficult to reach and operate, potentially delaying the response time and increasing the risk of injury. Now let's examine the specific requirements outlined in CC Section 680.43 D. This section provides detailed guidelines for the installation of disconnect switches for spas and hot tubs, covering aspects such as location, accessibility, and type of enclosure. One key aspect of this section is the requirement that the disconnect switch must be readily accessible and located within sight of the spa or hot tub. This means that the switch must be easily reached without having to climb over obstacles or enter enclosed spaces, and it must be visible from the spa or hot tub so that users can quickly shut off the power in case of an emergency. The 36-inch height requirement is a specific component of this accessibility mandate. Another important aspect of CC Section 680.43 D is the requirement that the disconnect switch must be suitable for use in wet locations. This means that the switch must be enclosed in a weatherproof enclosure that protects it from rain, moisture, and other environmental factors. The enclosure must also be properly grounded to prevent electrical shock hazards. Furthermore, the disconnect switch must be rated for the voltage and amperage of the spa or hot tub circuit. This ensures that the switch can safely handle the electrical load without overheating or failing. Now let's discuss some practical considerations for installing a GFI disconnect box at the required height. Firstly, it is important to carefully measure the height of the box from the ground to ensure that it meets the 36-inch requirement. Use a measuring tape or level to accurately determine the height and make sure that the box is mounted securely to the wall or other supporting structure. Secondly, it is important to choose a location for the disconnect box that is free from obstructions and easily accessible. Avoid placing the box behind bushes, trees, or other objects that could block access to the switch. Also, make sure that the area around the box is clear of debris and other hazards. Thirdly, it is important to properly wire the disconnect box according to the manufacturer's instructions and the requirements of the California Electrical Code. Use the correct size and type of wire, and make sure that all connections are tight and secure. Also, properly ground the box to prevent electrical shock hazards. Furthermore, it is crucial to understand the role of the ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFI, in the overall safety system for the spa. A GFI is a device that monitors the electrical current flowing through a circuit and quickly shuts off the power if it detects a ground fault. A ground fault occurs when electricity leaks from a circuit to ground, which can happen if a wire becomes damaged or if someone comes into contact with a live electrical part. GFI are designed to protect people from electrical shock by quickly interrupting the flow of electricity in the event of a ground fault. They are required for all electrical circuits that serve spas, hot tubs, and other wet locations. The GFI disconnect box combines the functions of a disconnect switch and a GFI receptacle in a single enclosure. This provides a convenient and safe way to disconnect the power to the SPA and protect users from electrical shock. The disconnect switch allows you to manually shut off the power to the SPA for maintenance or repairs, while the GFI receptacle provides ground fault protection. When installing a GFI disconnect box, it is important to follow the manufacturer's instructions and the requirements of the California Electrical Code. Make sure that the box is properly wired and grounded, and that the GFI receptacle is tested regularly to ensure that it is working properly. To summarize, the 36-inch height requirement for GFI disconnect boxes on exterior walls for SPAs in California is a critical safety measure designed to protect users from electrical shock and prevent damage to the equipment. By following the guidelines outlined in CC Section 680.43b and taking the necessary precautions during installation, you can ensure that your SPA is safe and compliant with all applicable codes and regulations. In addition to the height requirement, there are several other important safety considerations to keep in mind when installing electrical equipment for SPAs and hot tubs. Firstly, it is important to use only listed and labeled equipment that is specifically designed for use in wet locations. This equipment is designed to withstand the harsh environmental conditions found around SPAs and hot tubs, such as moisture, humidity, and chemicals. Secondly, it is important to properly bond all metal parts of the SPA or hot tub to the grounding system. This includes the metal frame, the metal piping, and any other metal components that could become energized. Bonding helps to prevent electrical shock hazards by ensuring that all metal parts are at the same electrical potential. Thirdly, it is important to install ground fault circuit interrupters, GFCIs, on all electrical circuits that serve the SPA or hot tub. GFCIs are designed to protect people from electrical shock by quickly interrupting the flow of electricity in the event of a ground fault. They are required by the California Electrical Code for all SPA and hot tub circuits. Furthermore, it is important to regularly inspect and maintain the electrical equipment for your SPA or hot tub. This includes checking the wiring, connections, and GFCIs to make sure that they are in good working order. Also, clean the equipment regularly to remove any dirt, debris, or corrosion that could affect its performance. Another point to consider is the placement of the disconnect switch relative to other structures and equipment. The California Electrical Code specifies minimum clearances that must be maintained around electrical equipment to ensure safe access and prevent hazards. For example, the disconnect switch must be located at least 5 feet away from any swimming pool or other body of water, and it must be accessible without having to climb over obstacles or enter enclosed spaces. It is also important to consider the potential for future changes or additions to the SPA or hot tub area. If you are planning to add any new equipment, such as lighting, speakers, or other accessories, make sure that the electrical system is properly sized to handle the additional load. You may need to upgrade the wiring, circuit breakers, or disconnect switch to accommodate the new equipment. In addition to the technical requirements, there are also some practical considerations to keep in mind when installing a GFI disconnect box. For example, it is important to choose a location that is convenient and easy to access for both the SPA users and the maintenance personnel. The disconnect switch should be located in a well-lit area so that it can be easily seen at night, and it should be protected from the weather to prevent corrosion and damage. It is also important to consider the aesthetics of the installation. The disconnect box should be mounted in a neat and professional manner, and it should be painted or finished to match the surrounding surfaces. A well-designed installation can enhance the overall appearance of the SPA area and increase its value. Furthermore, it is essential to remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it is always best to hire a qualified electrician to perform any electrical installations or repairs. A licensed electrician has the knowledge, skills, and experience to perform the work safely and correctly, and they can ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. Attempting to perform electrical work yourself without the proper training and experience can be hazardous and could result in serious injury or even death. In addition to the California Electrical Code, there may be other local codes and regulations that apply to SPA and hot tub installations. It is important to check with your local building department to determine what permits and inspections are required for your project. Obtaining the necessary permits and inspections can help to ensure that your installation is safe and compliant with all applicable laws and regulations. Moreover, it is crucial to stay up to date on the latest changes and updates to the California Electrical Code. The code is revised and updated every 3 years, and it is important to be aware of any new requirements that may affect your spa or hot tub installation. You can obtain copies of the California Electrical Code from the California Building Standards Commission or from your local building department. Also, consider attending training courses or seminars on electrical safety and code compliance. These courses can provide valuable information and insights that can help you to perform your work safely and correctly. In conclusion, the 36-inch height requirement for GFI disconnect boxes on exterior walls for spas in California is an important safety measure that must be followed to ensure the safety of spa users and the proper functioning of the equipment. By understanding the requirements of the California Electrical Code, following the manufacturer's instructions, and hiring a qualified electrician, you can ensure that your spa installation is safe, compliant, and reliable. The information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered as a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician or building inspector before performing any electrical work. Also, remember that safety is always the top priority when working with electricity. Take the necessary precautions to protect yourself and others from electrical shock hazards. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment such as gloves and safety glasses, and always disconnect the power before working on any electrical equipment. If you are unsure about any aspect of the installation, seek professional assistance. Electrical safety is not something to take lightly, and it is always better to be safe than sorry. Furthermore, regular maintenance and inspection of the electrical system for your spa are essential for ensuring its continued safe and reliable operation. Schedule regular inspections by a qualified electrician to identify and address any potential problems before they become serious hazards. This includes checking the wiring, connections, GFCIs, and other components for signs of wear, damage, or corrosion. Also, clean the equipment regularly to remove any dirt, debris, or moisture that could affect its performance. By taking these steps, you can help to prolong the life of your spa and ensure its continued safe operation.